Before continuing on with the video, I'd like to give a personal shout out to Kikoskia for providing the footage of the game we are discussing. His channel is in the description below. Please check him out. He's a great Let's Player. If you're watching this, thank you so much. This video could not have been done without your help. In July of 2012, a Taiwanese teenager booked a room at an internet cafe on a Friday evening, proceeded to sit down, open his laptop, and start playing the widely popular MMO, Diablo 3. After a non-stop 40-hour session lasting all the way into Sunday morning, the teenager was eventually found in a heavy sleep. Upon being woken up, he took several steps around and collapsed immediately. He had been sitting in the position for so long that the blood clotted up and stopped circulation to the entire bottom portion of his body. A few years earlier, in 2005 to be exact, a man in South Korea fell victim to a fatal case of malnourishment and dehydration after logging in around 50 hours of gameplay to fuel his StarCraft addiction. His last words were to his friend, saying he would stop playing soon, when his eyes closed and he fell back in his chair, pronounced dead instantly. So, why am I giving you this history lesson? Well, people need to understand that death is really its own tragedy. There's really nothing we can do to stop it from coming. There has always been, and will probably always be, controversy encircling what killed these people. Malnourishment, cardiac arrest, inactivity, epilepsy. You can name off plenty of factors that can be easily backed up with a little research and a good argument. But what makes this case in particular so controversial and so mortifying is the context in which these two victims died. This case is commonly referred to as the curse of Evil Otto. Berzerk saw its debut in 1980 in arcade machines across the world. It pretty much revolutionized what we see as video games. The concept was new, a speech function enabled the game to communicate with the player, the controls were fluent, and they just, well, worked. It was a really great game. The footage you are seeing here is not the arcade version. This is Berzerk on the Atari, released a couple years after people decided the arcade versions were no longer convenient and wanted to take it home with them in cartridge form. When Berzerk first came out, that's exactly how everyone looked at it. Revolutionary, one of a kind, groundbreaking. And then something happened one day. Something that threw the gaming industry under heavy fire and harsh criticism ever since, and turned what used to be a near flawless game into the controversial epicenter of tragedy. Allow me to introduce one of gaming's most condescending, terrifying villains ever to be known. Evil Otto. He doesn't look that scary, does he? If there's one thing speculation has taught us, it's that looks don't make the villain. It's the story behind the villain. And Evil Otto's story might just be the dimmest one of them all. In the game, Evil Otto has multiple functions. His bouncing animation was peculiar enough because games hadn't seen technology being worked in a way where such an animation could look visually convincing. Also, he was indestructible. He could phase through walls, and when you killed enough enemies on the screen, could accelerate drastically. Don't worry about fighting him. If you see him, it's in your best interest to run. It is at this point in the video where we are obligated to warn our viewers that the following information has faced extreme controversy. This might be terrifying to some and tragically depressing to others. Please handle what is being said with an open mind, and don't jump to conclusions. In 1981, a man named Jeff Daly reportedly died of a heart attack while playing Berzerk after attaining an impressive score of 16,660 points. It is important to note he died while playing and did not get a chance to post his official score. The owner of the arcade testifies that day that Daly was out of shape and that he was out of breath from the moment he arrived until he dropped. Sounds like a logical explanation. Next year, Peter Berkowski was in no such condition and tragically died from an almost identical situation. After posting 2 high scores that landed in the top 10, he also died of cardiac arrest, literally on the spot after letting go of the machine, and was already in the process of putting a quarter in another game. Strange coincidence? A lot of people like to think so. The understandable circumstances with Daly are able to counterclaim a lot of theories out there, but the articles about Berkowski seem to have been written in more detail, such as the name of the arcade, the name of the arcade owner, the city, and other factors as well. These were the first 2 video game deaths ever recorded in human history, and the fact that both tragedies happened within mere seconds of grabbing the controller poses the question, what if it's not? What if it's not a coincidence and there's something more behind this game people aren't considering? Well, to tell you the truth, no one really knows. There will always be an unanswerable question, and like every unknown variable, we must ask ourselves, is it something we really want to know?